welcome to the Ginger Snaps here. My name is Steven. Today is my little special Christmas episode. Now, I'm only doing one this year. Next year I'll plan to do some more. Just, Christmas becomes a little bit hectic. And as we all know, with the holidays, it's one of the most busiest times of the year. I know a lot of people say it's the most wonderful time of the year, but it's definitely the most busiest. Gotta get gifts for people, you gotta set up the tree and, get all the decorations on. But also, it's magical sometimes because, you get to open gifts. And sometimes, and most times actually, you have Christmas traditions. Definitely one of those is watching Christmas movies. I know a lot of people do it, and I know a lot of people get sick of it. But there are so many good classics out there, like, I don't know, It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, The Santa Claus, Christmas Vacation, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. So many classics. But for this year, I think there's only one classic I want to actually take a look at. And, while we're on the topic of that, let's open a nice little gift. Oh. How nice. The gift I got that we will be talking about is another classic when it comes to Christmas films. Black Christmas, which was released in 1974. This film is responsible a lot of the times, credited mainly, for kickstarting the slasher genre. Now I know some people will put that up for debate, and I know it's not one of the first movies that ever introduced the killer's POV, but it definitely sets a tone to what a future film would have in store later on to make it very popular. Now, of course, what's the story about this movie? Well, it's about a house that's run by a sorority, and a bunch of girls are getting prank calls, and very disturbing ones, during the Christmas season. Now, of course, one of these girls is about to go visit their family members, but winds up missing. In the midst of that, we have a police investigation that's going on, while also at the same time, a lot of people are going missing and getting picked off one by one by a mysterious killer. Wonder who that could be. Well, for this kind of movie, this was actually a very special one for me because of the fact that it was the first time I had seen Black Christmas, the original. The first one I ever saw was Black Xmas, which, as we all know, is the 2006 remake. And then I did recently watch the 2019 Black Christmas, but the less said about that one, the better. We're talking about the classic, the 1974 film. Now, of course, as we all know, this movie is known for being one of the first holiday slasher films. Now, that's also another thing that's a topic of debate because it's not really much of a slasher film of the criteria that, we know today. I know a lot of people, it's one of those body count movies where people are getting picked off one by one. But that criteria didn't quite hit the strides like it did in 1978's release of John Carpenter's Halloween, which the director had even said about this movie that if he was to do a sequel to this, it would have taken place on Halloween. Yeah, and then John Carpenter came around and directed a masterpiece. Now, what are my initial thoughts on this movie? I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. The fact that it's been so long since I've heard of it, and the fact that I can actually go back and watch this now every Christmas time is now going to be quite a tradition. I know I have a few little traditions here and there when it comes to Christmas movies, but this now will be firmly in there as part of that tradition. The POV shots are very much, handheld. I mean, I believe the Steadicam was not invented yet at that time, but it does add to the realism of how you're looking through the killer's POV. So, of course, it's going to be a little bit movie here and there, a little shaky sometimes. And, even just the prank calls you get in this movie are, fucking graphic. But what do you expect from 1970s horror, right? As for all the characters for this whole entire film, I didn't mind them at all. I thought every single one of them played their parts very well. I mean, we did have Lois Lane herself in this movie, you know, being a drunk bitch at this rate. And then, of course, the legendary John Saxton, God rest his soul, in this movie, playing quite possibly one of the nicest cops or detectives or whatever in cinema history, I guess. And just the whole notion of them trying to find a missing person, but also realizing that there's prank calls that somewhat seem connected in a way. So, of course, you know, the cops are investigating two things at the same time. But, of course, my initial thoughts was this was all supposed to take place in one night. I was a little shocked to even see that it takes place, you know, multiple days. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. As for the kills in this whole entire movie, there's not quite a lot. Some of them are very much off screen. There are two notably ones that are on screen. But of course, as we all know, the most famous kill that Billy pretty much does to Lois Lane. Yeah, I understand why it's such an iconic kill, because you have the Christmas choir outside singing along while her screams of being murdered are, you know, being covered up by the carolers outside. Such a nice little touch. Now, as for, you know, pretty much just the cinematography of the movie is also outstanding. It's quite a charm. I don't know what it was with 1970s horror, but for some odd reason, there's such a great charm to the cinematography in all these fucking movies that come out from the 1970s. And for sure, I do adore this one, especially with its cinematography. Now, of course, in saying that, I can easily say, yeah, there's not a dull moment in this movie for me that, you know, pretty much I can sit there and be like, that was a pretty bad shot. I do only have two problems with this movie. One of them being one of the characters in this movie. He kind of comes off as, you know, a very controlling person. I'm pretty sure for the people who have watched this movie, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Now, the other thing that is a big problem for me, or not really much of a big problem, is the fact that, you know, it's kind of a slow burn. Now, like I said, this is my first viewing experience of this movie. So, maybe over time with multiple repeat viewings, I can appreciate it and my grade will most likely go up from there. But yeah, other than that, Black Christmas from 1974 is definitely a classic. If you guys have not seen this movie, I definitely recommend it. As for a rating, I give the 1974 Black Christmas a 8 out of 10. And I'm firmly strong with that one. It might go up, but, you know, don't be surprised if it stays as an 8 out of 10. I flirted with the 7.5, but then I realized, you know what? I really do like this movie, especially the first kill of the movie, which, you know, drags on with that beautiful shot in the window. As we all know who've seen this movie, know exactly what I'm talking about. So everyone, tell me, what did you think about this movie? Is it one of those Christmas movies that you put on repeat every single year around this time of the year? Is it one of the prototypical holiday slashers that you really much enjoy? Do you think it should have never been remade? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you also hit that thumbs up if you like this video, and also subscribe for more content. Other than that, guys, that's it from me. This has been the Ginger Snaps here. My name is Steven. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I will talk to you guys later.